What is blooming in July? 4th of July, Independence Day, 2024, 5:30 a.m. in Seattle, Washington. Let's see what we have. The rabbits are no longer here. Ryan doesn't seem to know that. The loganberry is no longer blooming, but it does have some fruit on it. And berries. And things that I didn't know about loganberries when I planted them is they don't all get ripe at the same time, so you need to come back day after day and harvest it. And I didn't think about that when there we go. Get some. Now you can actually see it. I didn't think about that when I put the post up. Somewhere close to 12 and a half feet tall here, which requires a ladder to get up on and climbing it underneath the netting. So next year, I'll run it up along the fence. Here are next year's canes. Going up in the house, going on the side. Figs have set and are not yet ready to go. What else do we have? Peter's honey fig is doing well, putting on some new growth. There is a fig in here somewhere, unless the animals have got to it. Oh, where is it? Here we go. There's the one. Clematis is done for the year. The garlic is blooming, or putting on buds, or scapes, I suppose you call these. But, we will let go completely to bloom and completely go out. It looks kind of cruddy when it's when it's in bloom. So we put it behind the gate, out of the way. We actually do pull this in the winter, use it whenever we don't use it over the winter. We then bring it back and plant it for the next spring. The climbing rose bush is mostly done. Here we see we have a bunch of dead blooms on it. I don't really deadhead this one until later. Ooh. Do I have aphids on here? I do have aphids on here. Is it aphids or white flies? I have something eating on it, so I'll get the spray out later this morning. Dianthus, Sweet Williams. Bring it into focus. There we go. First dahlia of the season. The rabbits ate the small rose bush. Notice there are no longer any buds on this, and half the new growth is gone. Iceberg has aphids on it. I need to spray that. The daisies you've seen on the really late blooming columbine. While it's going to seed, we still have a couple blooms in it. The rest of the dahlias are not yet in. Still have Climbing New Dawn. It is a repeat bloomer, so it has repeat blooms on it as well as new growth that we'll need to tie back in. The last of the ranunculus in a poor little pot that didn't do much. The freesia one came up, we cut it, it's in the house. The garlic chives also putting on scapes. Calla lilies not blooming yet. Thought this froze last winter, survived. This is the variegated calla lily. Here we have, we're looking at parsley, miniature dahlias. The ranunculus here is done, except for two little single ranunculus here. And the last of the anemones being taken over by the zucchini, the monstrous zucchini. Monstrous plant. We don't have monstrous zucchini yet. We have some blooms and some fruits in it, but not yet. Last year's geranium still going. The nasturtiums. I thought this was a trailing variety, but without anything to climb on, it mounds. And interestingly, it mounds, but once it finds something that it wants to trail on, it trails throughout and then follows through and continues going. So we have some, we'll get some later season growth on that. Underneath it, I thought I was buying cosmos that were tall enough to grow through, but apparently this is a short variety that is not yet tall enough to come through and be seen. So those work as cut flowers to take in, but you can't even see them in the garden. Underneath the climbing Joseph's coat, the shamrocks still have some bloom. We have more nasturtiums. Really liking the shaded space. Now here it had an opportunity to climb, and then when it climbs, the blooms are coming up on top, which is good. Gladiolas are liking the raised box. We'll see how they handle the heat. And yes, Virginia, this is Virginia creeper. A variety of Virginia creeper here in Seattle, Washington. Non-invasive, decorative plant. It was a freebie. A seed came in with the compost bag, and so we're going to check it out, see how it does this year. So the second year growth. First year we took it up a post and across and onto the gazebo. This is what passes for blooms or berries. I have no idea which yet. That's all we've seen. So if those are berries, then it went directly to fruit without a blip, which is odd, very odd. But we'll check it out. If we get nice fall color on it, we'll keep it. If we get good structural interest over the winter, we'll keep it. Otherwise, we'll clip it off the base and replace it. Cucumbers. Nope. Cucumber. Died. Put new seeds. Died. Or something ate it. Violets. How nice. Let's see what else we have. Begonias. Last of the double ranunculus agapanthus is blooming. Beautyberry. The beautyberry is blooming. Can we get a close-up on the beautyberry? Yes. Purple berries with a little bit of white and yellow. The buds are also purple, which is nice because it's also the color of the berries. And this garden is working. More geraniums. Let's back off of the hydrangea. We did get some rain that knocked it down. It was filling the space. It knocked down at the sidewalk, so we cut a bunch of these off. Many are in the house now. The thunbergia is finally growing up the obelisk and starting to get some blooms on it in the visible area instead of in the back. Coral bells, front section finished out. We can't get these to go at the same time. Rebloom on the daphne again. Blooms at different weird odd times of the year that we haven't been able to figure out. In the shade garden, Not much going right now. The daffodils have died back. The lungworts died back. Well, not died back. The flowers are done. The Bernera flowers are done. Eventually, this climbing hydrangea should grow up into the dogwood, and if it ever gets enough sun, may, in theory, bloom. The hosta is new. It is blooming. The potted hydrangea has gone crazy. We'll take most of these blooms off later in the season as we continue to develop the structure of this for winter interest. It looks really good. It's a structural piece in the winter in that pot. A couple of potted trees. What else did I have back here? Oh, here's the one fig cutting that survived. Has barely survived, we'll say. It is potted up, and we'll see how it goes outdoors rather than indoors. Nothing left on the bleeding hearts. The semi-hardy fuchsia has come out. That's this. I don't see any blooms on it yet. We tend to get late season blooms on that one if it goes, but the elderberry is really taking over everything here. We do still have blooms on the elderberry, which is nice. A couple of weeks ago it was complete throughout. You can see the spent blooms. Even one or two berries left on it. We don't have a second pollinator for it, so it doesn't really set very well. And when it does, the birds immediately eat it. So it's not there for us. It's there for the garden and for the birds. Oh, the hanging begonia that we saved all winter inside is still has powdery mildew throughout, so I'll spray that again, see if I can keep that down. But it's alive, but not thriving, and not blooming out here. We actually get blooms in the house over the winter. We're just not getting blooms here. So 4th of July in the garden that works for spring, and Amy has gotten this to work for summer, early summer, and the dahlia garden will come in for late summer, but most of the spring ephemerals are done, and the peonies are done, and the camellia is done. The rhododendron is complete. I suppose we'll finish here with a rear view of nasturtiums blooming in amongst gladiolas behind the rose bush from within the gazebo. July 4th, 2024, Seattle, Washington.